So we're here at our event with Coinbase. We've got Steven Bartlett, and I'm lucky enough to ask 3 questions. So Web3 is obviously a startup industry.
Yeah.
You know, you're a bit of a startup guy. What advice do you have for like startup founders trying to start out in this new industry?
Yeah, I mean, it is difficult. And I think it's important to preface anything I say with that, because when it becomes difficult for you, I think it's important that you realize that's not evidence of your own inadequacy. That's just part of it's the rite of passage to building something great. In really any economy, the risk profile of starting a company is high and the failure rate is high. But if you are to be successful, it's, in my opinion, incredibly worth it. The specific advice that I'd give, if you're thinking of starting a business in the UK at the moment, is to really think deeply about where you're going to get a competitive edge. And so from building a company in San Francisco, what I've come to learn is the real competitive edges, the sort of foundational competitive edges in all businesses are the talent you're able to acquire, the funding you're able to accrue for most industries that are really sort of capital dependent. And I would say the partnerships and collaborations that you're able to create based on the ecosystem that you're building within. And I think in part, us being here today at this event is shining a light on the importance of collaboration and partnerships at all levels if we are, as an economy and as a nation, to succeed in capitalizing on the opportunity that Web3 presents. So those are really the 3 things. It's people, it's capital, and it's partnerships and collaborations.
Wow, amazing answers. And what we believe so strongly is the UK, we have the people, we have the universities, we have the capital, we have the time zone. So the next most important thing for some of us who have been in the industry for 10, nearly 11 years now, is we need this regulation and this security to grow, especially with the new part of crypto. And what role we're obviously seeing Elon in the US sort of really dive in, and as you have 1 billion streams, you're a leading voice. What's your responsibility, or what are our roles as entrepreneurs' responsibility to help model this policy so we can get innovation?
Yeah, I think it's important to realize that we're now competing on a global playing field where any sort of moves we make from a regulatory standpoint could put us at an advantage or a great disadvantage. It's not just a case of safeguarding our nation from any sort of downsides of potential innovations or disruptions. It's really thinking broadly about how our economy and the environment we create here for entrepreneurs is either conducive with innovation and success or is detrimental to it, versus other options for founders and entrepreneurs, versus Dubai, versus Portugal, versus Silicon Valley, versus Florida. So when you're thinking from a global perspective, you need to make sure that your policies are, of course, safeguarding consumers at all turns, but really pro-innovation, pro-entrepreneurship, pro-building, and having really, I think, more of a societal attitude that failure and an attempt at success is to be celebrated, not something to be criticized. And if we can create that environment, then the builders will do the best work of their lives, and that will be net beneficial for all of us.
Great answer. And my final question. So at Flight3, we're building the first blue chip Web3 marketing agency. You're a brilliant marketer. What's the breakthrough moment that blockchain needs to get away from? I mean, because what we're talking today to the policymakers, we're talking about GDPR, jobs, growth. We're trying to hide all of this tech talk, but what do we need as a Web3 industry to have that sort of like breakthrough moment, like you had with social media when you were winning all of the big blue chip companies?
So from a Web3 blockchain standpoint, it's just really interesting seeing some of the breakout use cases that have emerged. I mean, I'm spending a lot of time at the moment thinking about how the blockchain is going to enable a new form of gaming, which is just a tremendous industry. Spending a huge amount of time specifically at Third Web thinking about how with the blockchain we're going to be able to transact financial value in new ways, especially in a world of AI where AI agents can move value without having to go through the same sort of rigorous bureaucratic process that the banking system is encumbered by. And it's like, what I've come to learn is that it's really, really hard in foresight to predict what these sort of breakthrough moments will be, but they'll come if you create an environment and you have enough exceptional people working in the industry on the problems, experimenting, failing. And sometimes when you think about the web or you think about computers, they're driven by other macro innovations. So like the computer was driven by how fast and prolific internet became. And I think one of the exciting things that's happening sort of in tandem at the moment is the blockchain industry and the blockchain builders are there, and they're capitalized and they're excited. And now you have this new technology called AI, which at first seemed to be uncorrelated, but it's proving to be even more, it's seeming that AI is helping all tides to rise. And I think with the blockchain and AI, it just sort of almost like breaks my mental paradigm and what's possible. And so it's really, really hard to predict what those things will be. But looking forward, it's almost impossible to predict. But the most important thing is you have your economy, your talent building, excited, motivated, incentivized, because when those breakthrough innovations happen with the blockchain, but also with AI, you want to be the nation, the society that capitalizes on it. And we're like well poised currently, as long as we make sure that regulation and legislation doesn't get in the way, to really capitalize on that, because we've got, as you said, the talent, we've got the capital, and many other things in our favor.
Okay, and so the final point, like, I had to explain to a lot of people that I was into crypto. They were thinking, oh my God, matrix spinning thing. So I didn't come up with Web3, but I was the first person to go, wow, Web3, that makes sense. We don't have to say crypto. What is a good name to get rid of saying AI and Web3 and merge them together? Not to put you on the spot, because that needs a rebrand.
Yeah, I just, if something means too much, then it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
So I generally stay away from using the term Web3, and I think about the individual technologies. So you have like AI as a technology, you have virtual reality, augmented reality, you have the blockchain technology. Yeah. And I think that when you're more specific, you're more impactful. So I think talking broadly, specifically about the technologies is the path forward.